Am I on? Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Let's see if I can navigate here. So there we go. All right, this exciting time. Exciting to be in digital media. And for those of you that don't know me, I'll confess right now, I'm a reformed journalist of 30 years and a recovering digital media guy that predates the internet. So all of my comments are kind of coming through that lens. So what is programmatic? I think there are programmatic. What is programmatic? Really at its core, programmatic is about automation. We automate, all good? Sorry. Programmatic is about automation. We automate a lot of parts of our business. We automate the way that we transact with our customers. We automate the internal efficiencies. And programmatic advertising doesn't need to be anything more than that. But there are a number of reasons that that publishers have been scared away from programmatic. So we're going to talk about some of the myths, some of the realities, what the trends are. You have biddable impressions. You have impressions that you make available to your customers on a guaranteed basis, and that's probably how most of us transact with our advertisers, is providing them a guarantee. What we're not doing is, in large part, is exposing that inventory to be auctioned at a higher price. Open auction, which has really been to the detriment of the ecosystem. Open auction is putting impressions out that are available for any and everyone to bid on. There's no transparency for the advertiser, no transparency for the publisher. So the market, fortunately, is moving away, and we're moving into this notion of private exchange, where essentially you as a publisher are making an invitation to a buyer, and you're setting the criteria of what they can buy. And then guaranteed direct, which is the method that we're using today to have that sales conversation and agreeing to a price, to what they get, and then transacting in some kind of an automated way that, excuse me just a minute. Yeah, there we go. It's not working. Now it is. So automated guarantee, which is transacting the way you do today, but using the tools that are available to automate all that happens from the time your great salespeople have that conversation until an ad actually gets up on a page. 70% of the digital ad display this year in the US is going to be bought programmatic. We have, that's 26 billion, actually, that's a conservative number. The real number is probably closer to 30 billion. And the expectation is that over the next 4 to 5 years, nearly 100% of all digital display from all marketers across the board will be bought in a programmatic fashion. This is the most important stat. 65% of B2B marketers are already buying in programmatic. So what we've heard is we've gone out on a roadshow when I joined BPA. We started talking to publishers about their experiences with their digital customers. And what we hear consistently is the digital customers' year-over-year revenue is not growing at the level of expectation. When they go back and talk to these big customers, what they hear is that it's not that the digital budgets have declined, it's the manner in which they are transacting. And if publishers are not in the programmatic ecosystem, are not making it easier for their customers to buy their inventory, they're missing out. All right, I skipped my, I'm not navigating this properly. So let's just talk real quick. This is kind of a busy page. On the left, you have the buy side. On the right, you have the sell side. Media companies are sellers, advertisers are buyers. And all of the things that happen today when you transact with an advertiser, that's all done through emails. You have insertion orders that are sent. You have creative that is set up. But all the burden is bared by the publisher. And so what programmatic does is it begins to shift those responsibilities for success and implementation. And advertisers have more control, publishers have more control over what gets set up. So you have the buy side. This is just kind of digital talk. Ad agencies go through a DSP and a trading desk. That gets into the marketplace. They put criteria around what they want to buy. On the sell side, the publishers have criteria on what they will expose and what advertisers, maybe it's direct clients, maybe it's indirect clients, but they have criteria that is set up. And all that travels through this whole sales process that today is manual. As we move forward, that can be automated and create a lot of efficiencies for both buyers and sellers. So reservation buying, this is kind of a quick evolution. Reservation buying is what we've done today. We talk to a customer, we settle on a price. We moved a few years ago. I ran an ad network. We had ad networks that would fill unsold inventory. Then you have SSPs that are the supply side platforms that are managing the inventory. And one of the big challenges as demand is increasing for the advertising market, the gap is that there's not a lot of available inventory for quality publishers. And advertisers are demanding that they have quality. And it's kind of been gamed against premium publishers because premium publishers don't have the scale that the ad tech group has all been set up for scale. So you have ad exchanges and SSPs, you have collectives that are coming up. BPE is introducing a collective to help publishers onboard into that ecosystem. The DSPs, which are the demand side platforms, that's the interface that buyers use to set up all of their requirements around their buys. And then now we're in a point where buyers are wanting private exchanges. They want to know the quality of the inventory they're getting, the quality of the audiences that they're getting, and that is facilitated now through a private exchange. And that's good news for specialty publishers. For the sake of time, I know we're running late. So transacting in programmatic doesn't mean that you have to change the way that you interact with your clients. You can interact with them, you can have the business models that you've had in the past. It's about facilitating the whole transaction and monetizing in a way that, that suits your business model. Pricing, publishers set up pricing. So there are ways now inside these systems that allow you as a publisher to dictate what you sell, at what price, and what advertisers. You set the controls, you set the invitations, you accept them, or you decline them. One of the challenges right now is with the whole programmatic business, and actually digital sales in general, is that every time you have an impression that is not filled by one of your customers, you may send it to a third party. Maybe that third party is an ad network. Maybe that third party is want to be careful here, but you're, not to mention any names, Google, your DFP ad server has, many of you are plugged into an ad exchange. And that ad exchange is another partner. You may have a couple of other partners that are internal and some external. But today, that's all called a waterfall. I identify an advertiser or a buyer that has the highest rate, and if they can't fill it, I send it to the next guy. They can't fill it, I send it to the next party. The challenge with that is that you ultimately get that filled with whatever your stack or your ranking is set up in your ad server. Every time you pass back, You take an impression that isn't filled by one of your priority partners. Every time you take that impression, there's a certain number of impressions that leak and they fall, and they're not available. What header auction is doing, it's changing that rule. And that's where we'll see this going over the next 12 months, is that header bidding means that all of your demand partners or potential demand partners are coming in and they're bidding on your inventory simultaneously. So whether they are a high priority or a low priority, if they're willing to pay the price that you want, they get the impression. That's a higher yield for publishers. It's much more of a publisher-friendly and actually advertiser-friendly environment. So the benefits of programmatic is increase your digital ad inventory, of course, recaptures the budgets that we've lost, exposed inventory to new customers, have greater visibility, and then achieve scale to attract more buyers and improve your operational efficiencies. And as a guy that ran a company, and I looked at how we could, the whole process that was required to get an ad on a page, I understand what's required in those tactics that are necessary and the potential choke point, fail points. So let's, real quickly as I close out, programmatic also offers another opportunity, and that is programmatic and data cannot be separated. Your data, B2B publishers have far richer data than B2C publishers. That's an advantage that B2B publishers have. Taking that data and deploying it over third-party sites, it doesn't limit you to the inventory that you have on your own owned and operated sites, but taking that audience and retargeting them in other places. So it's about dollars, it's about efficiency, it's about being set up so that you can address the request from your customers today. We have a glossary here that'll be sent out that talks about the various definitions. There are a lot of acronyms used in the ecosystem. But again, I appreciate the time and happy to field any questions after. Thank you.